Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm Sean Cole, and today we have something just a little bit different. We recently covered the announcement of Dirt Showdown by Codemasters being in production. This was followed by a West Coast media tour by the Cody's team, and I was invited to come check it out. Actually, we were both invited, but only I was able to attend. I was able to see a presentation by the developer. I was also able to play it for myself and then have an interview with Ian Smith, who is the associate producer of the title. We talked about the franchise in general, as well as what we can expect from Dirt Showdown. So let's see what Ian had to say. I'm here with Ian Smith, the associate producer of Dirt Showdown, and we're here. You just gave us a pretty good tour of Dirt Showdown. And right off the bat, I think a lot of people are thinking Dirt 3. It's still sort of fresh on our mind.
Yeah.
This is not Dirt 4, though. This is a completely new direction. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
So Dirt Showdown is not Dirt 4, and for that reason, we're keeping it in everybody's minds. Dirt 4 will be coming further down the line. That rally-centric content will be there. We're going to go deeper into the rally experience and really give the players that love that aspect of it and the sort of loyal fans of Dirt something to sort of look forward to. But right now, there's not too many details on that. So Showdown's what we're here to talk about, and Showdown is a really sort of fresh experience. It's much more brash. It's unapologetic about being like over the top and wild. So it's quite different, and it was based on sort of like you mentioned, Dirt 3. We had a really great critical response, and we sort of looked at that and said to ourselves, okay, well, there are two aspects of what's in the box here: the action sports stuff and the motorsport stuff, and the rally-centric sort of content. So we looked at really what makes that action sport aspect really fun. So we boiled that element down into sort of three key areas. So there's like the race types, which are based on speed. So going fast and the sensation of speed, and then also the Gymkhana stuff, which is the style, the chance to sort of show off and be the sort of hero driver in front of other people.
Right.
And then there's also the destruction, which is just your chance to go wild and just smash things up.
It's not as easy as it looks either. I was driving it, and it's like one thing to hit an apex. It's a whole other thing to time it where you're going to actually intentionally hit another vehicle.
There's a little bit of strategy to it as well. You're going to want to go for the cars with less health to get those big hits and the terminal damage slams. There's a bit of tactics to it as well. It's not as easy as it looks.
It's not just smashing into things. You got to strategize a little bit.
A little bit of strategy in there as well, yeah. But the fun is really on the surface as well. So we've made sure that it feels really impactful when you hit the cars. You get a lot of feedback from how the cars react in terms of the damage, in terms of the particle effects, even down to the rumble of the controller and simple things like that.
Right.
So you really feel satisfied when you smash somebody out of the way.
No doubt. Now, it looks like the damage model has really gone through some reconstruction. I mean, I'm seeing like every part of these cars flying off and taking on crinkling damage and scratches.
Yeah.
Is it really the same as Dirt, or am I actually seeing more damage than I used to see?
So there are sort of two different aspects at play there. First off, there are two classes of car in the game which are fictional. So we've obviously had a little bit more freedom to take those to the limits. There are cars we're allowed to do whatever we want to them. We're smashing panels off, and we've really pushed the limits of like the degree to which the damage is there, and the deformation of the panels. In terms of technicality, we have actually pushed the amount of damage that we can show on screen at once, the amount of physics objects that can be in play. So we've got lots of things littering the environment. That's really, if we're going to do destruction, we thought we were going to do it properly.
Right.
And what's really great about that is that you're going to be able to upload this to YouTube. So that really helps, because we've had that cult following after Grid, where there was the Destruction Derby game mode.
Right.
People are like posting all their videos of that, and we felt like that was a small aspect of that game. Now it's sort of since we've included YouTube as a part of Dirt 3. This has now given us the opportunity to sort of upload all those random moments.
Right.
It's physics-based, so it's always going to be completely different. We've also got crashbacks in there instead of flashbacks. So that's going to be like a really cool high-definition sequence where you're going to see all the crumples that you were talking about, almost like the rippling of the metal as it's contacted, so like super, super slow-mo. That's going to be a cool way to sort of differentiate your videos that you're uploading this time around.
Now, how removed from Dirt 3 are we when it comes to like physics? Are the physics the same? Is it you know, I don't want to say, it seems a little more arcade-ish because it is sort of a bang it out kind of game versus racing.
Yeah.
Is it the same physics?
The underlying physics is the same engine. You know, the people who played Dirt games in the past, you know, the critically acclaimed handling and the physics and the stuff that people have really enjoyed in the past is still going to be there. It's just that the accessibility of the handling is a little bit more easy to pick up. We've not gone to the extent where we've got numerous assists required. It's almost like playing with all assists on.
Now, Dirt 3 had a lot of emphasis on racing, point-to-point racing. Are we still doing some racing in this, or is it all about banging it out?
Sure. So the racing is one aspect of 3 different play styles that we're offering the player. So the racing is a little bit more aggressive than it was before. It's not based on point to point like you mentioned. It's actually going to be all circuits or you know, crossover circuits, which we're calling 8-ball.
Yeah.
Those ones offer a little bit more flavor in terms of the dynamic, unexpected events.
Right.
We've looked really hard at what we can do with the race modes to make them dynamic, a little bit more exciting. You know, you're venturing into the unknown, and it's never tied up before you get to the finish line. Give them a nudge and spin them out, and you know, that stuff is completely encouraged because in the 8-ball game modes and in the race game modes, the health is going to be there, so you know, there's a degree of like how physically well the car is before it's retired and terminally damaged. So you're going to pinpoint those players that are looking pretty weak and get rid of them, so that you can progress. It's really aggressive. It's full contact. So yeah, that's a big differentiator from what people might have seen before in the previous Dirt.
So Dirt Showdown might be the furthest thing from what you expected, but I have to admit, it certainly looks like fun and gives me the ability to do some things that I've always wanted to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, I'm going to hit Ian with a few more things I got to know about Dirt Showdown.
Take your hobby to the next level with a quality racing rig that works great with a PS3, Xbox 360, and a PC. GT Omega Racing Simulator is compatible with a wide range of steering wheels, including Logitech, Fanatec, Thrustmaster, and more. The GT Omega is available now worldwide by going to www.gtomegaracing.com.
How did you guys even conceptualize this? I mean, how did you go from making these hardcore racing games to something that's all about fun factor for me? I mean, this is. I mean, there's some good racing in here and some good things, but it's really about just smashing and banging and eliminating your competition. How do you get from there to here?
I think it's sort of a game that's been in the collective mindset of the studio for a little while. It's, you know, it's been in the back of our mind that there's something really cool to be done there. It made sense for us to go this route, especially because we got such a good response about the party modes in Dirt 3. You know, people that went out and sort of voted in numbers on our servers, and we kind of said, right, okay, well, there's obviously something good going on there. So yeah, the party modes became a big deal for us.
So, to an extent, it almost seems like Dirt 3 is going to be left with more of that rally, hardcore racing direction, and that this is sort of taking the party modes that were so successful from Dirt 3 and blowing that up in a bigger scale and giving somebody a whole other avenue where they can focus a lot more on the fun factor type stuff.
Yeah, the numbered franchise will continue. Or, you know, whatever we end up calling Dirt 4.
Okay.
But Showdown is a good way for us to differentiate, and it's yeah, it's a bit of a beast, really. It's sort of grown, and the studio have sort of really had a lot of fun working on it.
So what type of cars are we looking at in Dirt Showdown? I'm seeing some sort of like late model American cars, some trucks and things. Are we going to see some of the cars from Dirt 3 carried over? I'm looking at some new cars as well. What are we looking at there?
Yeah, so the Gymkhana cars in the game for the Hoonigan game types, they're fully licensed. So, you know, they're the types of cars that you'd expect to be competing in real life in those types of events. So we've got Ken Block's brand new HF-HV, and we've got a whole sort of spectrum of different licensed cars. But you know, the licensed cars are one aspect of it. The race mode and the destruction game mode, they both are fictionalized cars. They're based on real life reference, but on no particular cars. There's a lot of sort of things in there for people to sort of choose the one that they think is quite cool. Once they've chosen their car, they can then sort of upgrade it and take it all the way through the career, or they can save their cash and buy other cars and like get a chance to play every one.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about career mode. So I'm kind of accustomed to, you start off here, you open up first pyramid, and you open up these. Is that the type of career mode we're going to be looking at for this, or is it completely unique?
Sure. So the UI actually is going a little bit further back to the sense that you're at the event. So you'll progress through there, and then they'll present to you the 4 different tiers of the Showdown World Championship. So the Showdown events, the Showdown career is based on 4 tiers, mixing up all of the game types. So you've got Gymkhana, you've got the destruction modes and the race modes, and they're all mixed together.
Okay.
And as you progress and as you upgrade your car, you work your way towards a Showdown final, and those finals are what you need to complete to move to the next tier.
Okay.
We'll be locking off some of that content so that there's a real incentive for players to sort of keep going and first off get enough cash to be able to buy the cars for later on.
Right.
But then also some of the different locations won't come until sort of tier 3 or tier 4. There's a lot of different content in there, and we're sort of making sure that that's staggered through the career.
Okay. And what about the multiplayer side of things? I mean, Dirt 3, again, most of the focus was on racing. This is a lot more on the fun type games, party mode. Even the racing seems to kind of gone party mode direction with the 8-ball. How does the online part play out, and matchmaking, and what types of competition am I looking at?
Yeah, so in terms of the online, we've included all of the different modes that you're going to expect in your career. So again, those 3 play styles are all covered there. All of the game modes that you can play offline, you can then play online. And then, in particular, we've brought back the party modes that were in Dirt 3. Those are coming back, and they were highly successful first time round.
Okay. One thing in Dirt 3 that was kind of new for me, or all of us, was the Gymkhana. And honestly, when it came out, me being the hardcore race guy, I thought, Gymkhana, whatever. And then it turned out to be one of my favorite parts of the game mode. Are we going to see more of that in Dirt Showdown?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think what you just described there is sort of something that we were very much conscious of when we designed the Showdown Gymkhana game modes. So Hoonigan is going to be like Gymkhana 2.0. It's like the next logical progression. It's really, we've looked at the accessibility, which is really important, and the accessibility is something that's, for Gymkhana we felt that we needed to hold people's hands a little bit further, to sort of pull them along and explain to them what it is to do those tricks, what they're going to need to do and what skills they're going to need to do the donuts, the drifts, the spin dryers, and those sort of things. So
right.
This time round, we've really worked hard on the mechanic for sort of latching into tricks, being able to sort of get in there and then really control how that trick works. So yeah, expect the Gymkhana stuff to be there, and in Hoonigan this time round, you're really going to be able to feel like the hero behind the wheel.
And what about different playing environments or arenas? I know Battersea was one of my favorite places in the Dirt 3. Are we seeing a carry over there? Do you have new places that we're going to be able to play at?
Particularly in relation to the Hoonigan game modes, as you say, Battersea was in Dirt 3, and it was a really cool place to go and explore and have a good time. We've changed up the missions in there, and we've got some new hidden packages and stuff to do. It's a really cool place to explore again. But this time around, we've also got Yokohama, which is around 3 or 4 times bigger than what Battersea was.
Oh, so, wow.
It's a really big undertaking for the team to make something like that. And it's a really big place for the players to explore.
And it's just wide open. I can just drive around kind of thing?
Yeah, so there will be big sections which you'll unlock based on your progression. So if you're in Area 1, you'll do a number of different missions there, and once you complete those, you'll unlock the next section. So that's actually something that's new for Joyride this time around. In Dirt 3, it was based on your progression in the career. So, you'd complete the challenges and then you'd have to go and do Season 2 before you could do the next area. Now we've made sort of more emphasis on Joyride. It's a sort of whole mode of its own. So
when can we expect this game out?
Dirt Showdown's coming out May 2012.
Okay.
And it's going to be available on all platforms, so Xbox 360, PS3, and PC.
Fantastic. Well, I'm very excited about it. It's a lot of fun, it looks like. I've been playing it and having a good time, and I appreciate you showing it to us.
Cool, no problem, man.
Thanks
very much.
Well, as you can see, they've gone full arcade crash and burn mode for Dirt Showdown. If I thought this was a new direction for the Dirt franchise, I'd be a little bit disappointed. However, it seems that they are now going 2 different directions with Dirt, and that leaves a lot of room for a game designed around fun and destruction. This is exactly what we have talked about as a diversion racing game that many people are going to enjoy this game. It's due out in May of this year, and I personally will be looking to tear some fenders off. I hope you've enjoyed this show. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.